Segment 4 is reviewing for a test or a quiz. How many people use review games at some point to help students review? Yeah, everyone does review games to review for a test or a quiz. But are you getting a little tired of Jeopardy or Around the World? And do you feel that sometimes, even in the game, some students aren't engaged? What we'd like to offer you here in this segment is 2 review games that are high in engagement. They promote high engagement in the whole process, and then one way to make any review game better. Okay, so those are the 3 things that we offer you in this segment. And the first one is numbered heads. Now, in numbered heads, you're going to be divided into teams of 3 or 4, and today we're having 3s. And you need a number. So let's take 10 seconds. Everyone get a number, 1, 2, or 3 at every table. Ready, go. And as before, you might want to write it down so you remember what your number is. Okay? And then I'm going to pose a question. I'll pose a question, and you'll lean in and discuss the answer at your table. Now, as in some of the other segments that we discussed, when you lean in, you want to talk loud enough for your partners to hear, but not so loud that the other tables can hear. Okay? All right, so that's the general process. And if you didn't know the answer, you would want to write it down, because in just a minute, I'll spin the magic spinner, and once I do that, then you need to be ready with an answer. Whether you're a 1 or 2 or a 3, some of those numbers will come up. Okay, so that's the general process. So before we start, then, with the person farthest from me at every table, explain numbered heads to your table. What do you think is going to happen? Okay, person farthest from me at each table.
The teacher has to divide the group into teams of 3 or 4. Then once we have our groups, we have to number each other.
Okay, so Susan, tell me something that Zach said that you now understand about numbered heads. How is this going to work?
Well, Zach said that we are going to be divided into teams of 3 or 4 members, and each member gets a number, a 1, 2, 3, or 4. Then you will pose a question, and we get to have some think time first, and then we put our heads together and discuss what we think are the answers.
Good for you. All right. You guys are okay with that? Good with the all right. Excellent. So our content is 4th grade content, so you have to figure out if you're smarter than a 4th grader. And we're going to start with how many states touch Pennsylvania and what are their names? All right, so first think, just think, don't talk or say anything. Think, how many states touch Pennsylvania and what are their names? And now talk quietly to one another. And let's bring that to the close. And I'm going to spin the magic spinner. Okay, we'll spin the magic spinner. 3s. All right, so all the 3s, if you would stand up, please. Okay. Now, 3s, when I say show me, I want you to show me the number of states, okay, that touch Pennsylvania. Ready? Show me. Okay, so we have 2 different numbers. We have 2 different numbers. All right, so Jackie, tell me one.
New Jersey.
New Jersey. Tell me a different one, Jennifer.
Delaware.
Delaware. Tell me another one, Ellen.
West Virginia.
West Virginia. Elaine, what did Ellen just say?
She said West Virginia.
Very good. Good for you for listening. All right, so that's 3. Jackie?
Maryland.
Maryland. Jen?
Ohio.
Ohio. And?
New Jersey.
New Jersey, yes. So there are 6 states that touch Pennsylvania. Good for you if you didn't have all 6 for writing that 6th one down. All right, here's our next question. Our next question, we talked about in Pennsylvania there are a variety of river systems. What are some of the river systems in Pennsylvania?
Susquehanna. Then you've got the 2 in Pittsburgh that run into. Yeah, that probably counts. I don't know. I always think.
All right, we'll spin the magic spinner again. 2s. This time the 2s. 2s stand. Katie, how many river systems did your team come up with? 5. Zach, how about your team?
5 as well.
5 as well. Mary, how about your team?
6.
6. Okay, so Mary, tell us one. Schuylkill. Did you have that one? Yes. Zach, you had that one? All right, Zach, tell me one.
Delaware.
Delaware. Katie, did you have that one? Good, that one. Mary? Yeah, Delaware. And Katie, tell me one. Lehigh. Zach, did you have that one?
We did not.
Okay, add that. And Mary, did you? Susquehanna. Okay, so now think about this. Of all the rivers that were mentioned, this is for everyone, of all the rivers that were mentioned, which is the longest? Which is the longest? Of all the rivers that were mentioned, which is the longest? Jennifer, which is the longest?
Susquehanna.
The Susquehanna, that's correct. The Susquehanna is the longest in Pennsylvania. All right, so now here is our, thank you, Twos. Thank you very much, Twos. Here is our next question. Resources in Pennsylvania. What are some things that you would classify as resources in Pennsylvania?
That whole controversy thing that they're having. He knew it last time.
What is it? It's shall.
It is, isn't it? Did we do this a few months ago? Salt.
And finish the one you're on. Time to spin the magic spinner. Twos again. Lucky 2. Zach, what's 1?
Natural gas.
Natural gas, yes. Katie?
Coal.
Coal. Mary?
Iron.
Iron. Julie, what did Mary say?
Iron.
Good for you for listening. Zach, another one.
Steel.
Steel. Now, steel is made from iron and coal. Okay, so that's a kind of a product. Katie?
Corn.
Corn, agriculture, yeah. And Mary, did you have anything else that was different? Copper, yes, there are some copper mines. And oil, actually, remember the first oil well was in Titusville, Pennsylvania. Okay, all right, so we went over that last week. No. Okay, all right, so Twos, have a seat. Thank you, Twos. Now, a couple hints about numbered heads. One of the hints is I always try, regardless of what number comes up, I always make sure that 2 2s or 2 3s come up early on so that the students know that they could be called on. Just because they were up, that doesn't mean they're done. So again, because one of the things we said about this is to promote engagement. The other hint is to ask questions of the people who are seated, and you were great at that. So that those that are seated don't feel that they don't have to pay attention. The other thing, again, which you all were very good at, is writing the answers if you didn't have it, okay? So that you're all individually responsible for that. The goal of having a team is that you gain from the team doesn't drag you around, okay? So the team you can depend on while you're discussing, but once the spinner spins, you're on your own after that. And that's how that individual accountability plays out.
Teach 4th grade, and Numbered Heads is a great way to use review games in the area of social studies and science, particularly because it's the end of the day from 3 to 3:30, so anything that can engage all the learners at one time is a win-win situation. Science is very heavy content, vocabulary driven. We do PSSA science in 4th grade, so it's really important to hit all the terms, so Numbered Heads would be a great way to do that.
We actually use numbered heads in earth science along with our Jeopardy game. We still have our Jeopardy game set up, but we have teams. So each row, each person in that row is assigned a number. We pose the question, they're given time to consult with their teams, everyone's back in their seat. We spin the spinner, roll the dice, whatever, and call that number. So it helps with accountability because each person needs to know the answer. They don't know which number is going to be called on. It's great for a review of all those different science topics.
I teach high school science, and the thing I love about Numbered Heads is the level of engagement that it brings to each student. Even when we sat around and practiced it, we all were kind of nervous, and we were all focused on our answers, and we made sure that we had all the right answers down. And I think that it is a great way to just keep students involved, keep students motivated, and especially in science where there's a lot of terminology, a lot of vocabulary, and just a lot of content in general.
In AP Statistics, after they've learned about a dozen different inferential procedures, hypothesis tests, confidence intervals, the real challenge becomes when you read a situation, which one is appropriate? So this gives kids a chance to talk about the situation, decide on what they should do. They get the support from each other, the confidence that their answer is most likely correct. And then you can, of course, randomly call on someone and then confirm that they've made the right decision.